Welcome to The Worthy Woman, a podcast for the intuitive, ambitious woman who's ready to regulate her nervous system, reconnect with her body, and rise to the next level of success, health, and purpose. I'm your host, Jo, manual osteopath, holistic coach, and nervous system guide, here to walk with you as you heal from the inside out and create a life and a business that actually feels good. On this podcast, we explore the connection between your body, emotions, subconscious patterns, and your ability to lead, create, and live from your worth. Let's get into today's episode.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about why your nervous system, or why you fear success. So why, as much as you want success, why does it seem like it's so hard to get there? And why is there maybe a part of you that is like questioning whether you want it or kind of like holding yourself back from it? So as always, I have my notes. I have my notes here, my little book. So we're going to talk about why we fear success. This is a paradox because logically, all of us are like, yeah, I want success, right? Like, obviously I want success. But we might feel stuck, or we're struggling to take the actions that we know are going to get us the results, right? So why do we kind of maybe hold ourselves back a little bit? Why does there seem to be this like weird invisible block? I know I have felt this way, like, and I question, I'm like, do I really want it? Like, is there a part of me that's resisting it? And it can be really challenging because, again, there's this struggle of like the logical, mental part of us, and then this like physical, emotional part of us. And that can be really hard. Like, it's hard to explain. It's hard to identify sometimes. And so if you're questioning whether you're feeling success, fearing, I don't know if I said feeling, but if you feel like you're fearing success and you've questioned that before, for yourself in your life, this episode is going to be for you, and we're going to dive on into it. Now, if you're curious around the nervous system, my last episode had a little bit more about that and how dysregulation can kind of be showing up in your business. So definitely check out the previous episode that I did last week. That'll be super helpful for you guys. But basically, our nervous system, we fear, or we can have resistance, I'm going to say, to the unknown, to this level of success that's like up out here, right? That we have not reached yet, for possibly a lot of different reasons. But the real basic reason is that it's unfamiliar. It's something we have not done. It's something our body does not understand. It doesn't know. And so therefore it feels very foreign. It feels very different. It feels unsafe because, well, I don't know how that situation is going to pan out, right? And I talked a little bit about this in my last episode, but you know, like, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, sure, we could have all this success, but what if we fall on our face? What if we all of a sudden don't make any money and I now can't pay my bills, right? So there's this fear that comes with this next level success that we want. And it's because it's unfamiliar. It's because it's different. And our nervous system views that as a threat. It views that situation as unsafe because there's not that guarantee, right? Even if your situation that you're in right now logically is worse, but you're like, your body's like, yeah, but we know this, right? But it's like the devil, you know, right? It's like, well, I know what this feels like. I know what I'm up against. I know how to handle this because I've experienced this, right? And so as much as we will always choose a familiar chaos, right, than unfamiliar success. So we have to start to realize this within ourselves so that we can start to do something about it, right? And so we might have this fear that success equals burnout, or success means I'm going to have to like work my butt off and sacrifice everything else in my life, or success means I'm going to be rejected because my current group of people are not that level of success. So what if now I don't have these people in my life, right? Because that comes down to a survival piece of like being connected and being part of the community and not being outcasted, because we've always survived in groups, right? And so when we are separated from the group, our chances of survival start to go down, right? From a primal original perspective, right? So rejection's a huge one, right? And it really just comes down to safety and survival. That's really what it comes down to. It's what it's rooted in. But it shows up in all these like little hidden ways, right? And that comes down to like, the success makes me different, and that's not safe, right? Even look at the way people are with different people. We're getting a little bit better in our society, but when people are different from us, we're like, oh no, I don't like that person, or I don't whatever, right? And it's because they view that person as a threat to their safety, to their survival. And so it's the same thing in your business. That goal, that thing that you want to have that's different, is making you, be in a different place, a different status that you've been in. It feels unsafe. It feels like a threat to your current survival, right? Where you're currently at. Okay. So, and a lot of this is tied to our traumas, our belief systems, whether it's a societal thing, or where we grew up, or the city we grew up in, the country we grew up in, our family's belief systems, right? Our, maybe the class that we grew up in, right? Like of economically. All of those things shape our beliefs, shape our values, shape our subconscious thoughts around what we feel is possible for ourselves. And all of those things can hold us back, right? Like I grew up with a mom who was very successful in a lot of her business ventures, but all of them really took up her time. And all of them really, from what I saw, like kind of burned her out. And I was like, I don't want that, right? I want a business, and I want a business that's successful. But then there's this like, oh, if I have a business, though, it means I'm going to have to work hard, even though I know I'm not setting it up to be that way, right? And I'm aware of that, so I can kind of, we'll say, avoid that, right? But there's still that internal part of me that's like, ooh, I don't know if I want a business, because is that going to mean that I'm going to have to sacrifice all these things? I'm going to be so busy. I'm going to be so tired. I'm not going to really get to enjoy my life, right? So it's looking at those little things when it comes to success. Like what is success? What do you think success is going to bring you? Good and bad. And the negative things are usually the things that are kind of blocking you, right? They're the things kind of standing in your way. So some symptoms of the fear of success, you can be like sabotaging your launches, sabotaging new opportunities. You could also be like totally avoiding the new opportunities, not putting yourself out there. And this is like sometimes like, oh, I want this. And then when the thing shows up, you're like, oh, but not like that. Or, oh, I don't want that. And there's a fine line again of like what's in alignment with us or for us, but also, what is meant for us that we're maybe pushing away, right? And we could be backing out of things last minute. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but like I've had this for sure, where I have like, I think I'm tired. But it's actually stress. And I'm stressed about, let's say, an event I have to go to, right, socially, that maybe I know is going to help my business. And I'm stressed and I don't want to do it leading up to the point. And then I go, and I usually feel so much better, and I'm so happy I went. It's like the workout you don't want to do, right? You always feel better after, but before you're like, I don't want to do this, right? Like I don't want to do this. I don't think I need to go. I don't need to go today, right? And so we can kind of talk ourselves out of things, and that will happen when we're kind of maybe getting in our own way when it comes to success. Now, you might actually be tired. You might actually not want to go. It might not be in alignment with you. Those things can also be true. But if you find that you're constantly kind of getting in your way and holding yourself back, again, go back to my previous episode. We talk a lot about like the nervous system states that could be showing up for you and how you could be kind of sabotaging based on your nervous system state. So that'll be really good for you. And if you don't want to listen to the episode, I do also have a free quiz that will put you in a category of the state that you're typically in the most often. And that's going to give you how it shows up, what you could be doing in your business that's showing you that you're in that state, and what you can start to do to kind of get out of that. So you can also check that out too. We could also be attracting like not our ideal clients. So maybe you've got clients, but they're not really the people you want to be working with. And that could be showing us in a way how we're kind of holding ourselves back. Maybe we're not fully speaking our truth, our authenticity. Maybe we're afraid to say, this is specifically the person that I want to work with. So we have to, again, acknowledge those sorts of things as well, of like, again, where is your business at, and is it in or out of alignment with where you want to be? And you could just be, again, playing small. Playing small can show up in a lot of different ways. But again, just how are we sabotaging our own sense of self? And I don't always like to say sabotaging, because it's like, it makes us seem like we're always doing something wrong, when in reality, we're just trying to protect ourselves. Our body and our mind is just trying to protect ourselves, right? Like, we're just trying to be safe. But sometimes in being safe, we're playing small. We're limiting ourselves because we don't feel safe to go for that next thing. We don't feel safe to step out of the comfort zone. Like, that's what all of that really is. That's all nervous system stuff. Stepping out of your comfort zone, playing big versus playing small. What's the other one that people say? All those types of sayings. Stepping out of a comfort zone, going for something, right? All of that kind of stuff is, you have to teach your nervous system how to feel safe while doing those things, while taking those steps, because it's not about overcoming the fear. It's about moving through it, because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the fear. You're going to feel the uncomfortable energies. You're going to feel like, what the heck am I doing? Right? But we can use tools and exercises and things to support us along that journey, to make it normalize it for ourselves. And a lot of times, a lot of us need the body-based exercises, whether it's like vagus nerve stuff, breathing, movement, morning and evening routines, right? Like, all kinds of stuff, that depending on who you are and your situation. But we can use those things to re-establish a sense of safety within our nervous system and our body, because logically, we know everything, but our body doesn't believe us. So we have to get the mind and the body on the same page. And that's what I've noticed in mine. And I will probably do an episode on this, because this drives me frickin' up the wall. And probably because I've struggled with it myself. But I'm a very logical person. I'm a very like, yep, I see where this gets me this, right? Like, I can piece those things together. I'm that person. I've never been to therapy, but I'm that person that could probably talk myself through the therapy and then feel like I got nowhere, right? Because it's like, I know all the things I should be doing. I know all the steps. I know what's right. I know what's wrong. I know, like, I very clearly see already what's working, what's not working, but I still can't get myself through it, right? And that's because I've had to incorporate more physical things. So when people are on the internet and they're talking about business and they're talking about success and they're talking about making more money, and they're like, just journal on it, or like, you just have to change the way you think. It's like, girl, it's so much more than that. Like, there is so much that potentially could be going on in your body, that absolutely those are tools, but are they really working, right? Because we can journal, but then, like, is it going into the body, right? I think there's a difference of like our mental state and then our physical state. And again, if there's a disconnect, you're going to feel stuck still. You're still going to feel like, why can't I reach that next level? Why am I struggling with being successful? Why am I, all of those sorts of things. And I really struggled with that for a very long time. And it's so freaking frustrating that, like, some people have been able to be successful. And it's not that I resent them being successful. I really view people as very much inspiration. But what frustrates me is when they're like, oh, I just did this. I just like journaled every day. It's like, did you really? Or like, just because that worked for you doesn't mean that's going to work for me, right? Truthfully, I kind of hate journaling. I never know what to say, It's like I need the journal prompts. But regardless, it's like I've needed that more, the physical body-based things, because in my body, it doesn't feel safe for me to do that. And it's not as complicated as it seems to create those changes. But we just have to have that awareness that it's even showing up in the first place, and then understand what we can do with that, right? So doing that inner work, I've kind of touched on this. I'm looking at my notes, but it's like doing that inner work and noticing, like, when do you feel expanded? When do you feel contracted? When are you open? When are you closed to certain things in your business? And that's going to show you, again, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and then where you're maybe a little bit stuck, or where you're maybe being a little bit blocked, or maybe where you have a fear of success kind of showing up for you. And so we need to be able to support ourselves and show up to support the part of us, or the area, we'll say, of our body, or the area of you that fears outshining or fears being successful. And that's, again, where those nervous system tools and exercises come into play. I believe in nervous system tools and exercises, but when they're used properly, and when they're used in a way that's actually supportive for us to get from point A to point B. I think a lot of people just incorporate them into their day, and absolutely that can be supportive too. But I think when we have a very specific intention, we can utilize the power of them so much more, right? So if you're doing breath work stuff to calm your anxiety, let's just say, what's the anxiety about? Right? What are we anxious about? What are we struggling with? And maybe instead of doing it in the morning, we need to do it when those things show up. Or notice that, like, ooh, I got anxious today around this topic. So later tonight, or whenever you have time, you're going to sit down and, like, work through those things with the tools and those thoughts and what was coming up for you, and work through that and sit with that, right? Do that reflection piece. You'll start to notice very specific triggers that you have, or very specific situations that show up for you that do trigger your nervous system. Or I become, like, way more aware of when I'm regulated versus dysregulated. And it's like, before I couldn't tell you. Like, I couldn't tell you when I wasn't. I probably was just dysregulated all the time. And I do have moments of that still, but I can feel it happening. Like, I can notice in my body when things are starting to show up, and it's allowing me to catch things a little earlier than I used to. Like, I used to be a chronic burnout person. And I can kind of catch myself getting into that state, so I can kind of rein it back before I get there, right? So to help manage my energies and helps me stay consistent in my business, right? In some capacities. We're still working on it in some areas. But yeah, those nervous system tools, that awareness of what's showing up for you with that, like, getting you to that next level of success, what's maybe, like, blocking you, or what's creating the fear of hitting that next level, burnout, feeling like you're going to be working all the time, those sorts of things. You can use the tools to regulate the level of success that you want to get to in your body. And that's going to help you be more visible, help you hit the next level of your leadership, or just feel like you are a leader, and also help you attract and be and feel more abundant, right? Whether that's materially, emotionally, relationship-wise, whatever, right? So I'll leave you with the question that you can kind of start to reflect on. And that is, what does success feel like in your body? You can also do the inverse of, like, what does success not feel like in your body, depending on what's easier for you. But what does success feel like in your body? The other question I'm being called to offer you is, what does success really look like for you? A lot of us link success to, like, money, or like X amount of people in my business kind of thing. Maybe it's a little deeper than that. Or, like, I don't know, you can use deeper or more basic. But, like, maybe it's like success is being able to sit outside on my porch drinking a coffee in the morning with no expectation of where I need to be. Right? Maybe success is being able to be done at 4 p.m. every day, so I can come home and make my kids dinner and hang out with them until they go to bed, and I can be present with them. Maybe success is having a business that you don't feel burnt out by, that you are able to feel calm and, we'll say, regulated most of the time, or know how to regulate yourself, so that you can be present with friends and family and enjoy the rest of your life, right, outside of business. What does success look like, truly? And what does success feel like in your body? Sit with those two things, and I would love to know. You can feel free to shoot me a DM. My DMs are always open, by the way. Like, I love being able to connect with you guys. If you have questions about anything, any of my podcast episodes, or if you have questions around my programs or my offerings, just shoot me a message. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment with those things, you know, how success feels, what it looks like. If you have any questions, again, you can leave those too. But yeah, anything that comes up for you, I would love to know if you feel called to share. I will be opening up spaces for my Elevate Her program in July here. So it's only going to be like kind of a couple. I like to kind of keep it a small space. So if that's something that interests you, it's a 12-week program. It's coaching, so you're working with me directly. It's a very small group, but you do have me kind of Monday to Friday in your pocket. So it's really great to be working through things, especially if you're in your business going through launches or trying to put yourself, like, start your business, get out there, or if you are struggling with anything specific in your business or feel like you've plateaued in any sort of way, especially if you've been doing all of the strategy and all of the businessy kind of things, but you have yet to implement the more body-based things. Yeah, this is definitely a great option and opportunity for you. So I invite you to take a look at it. The link for that is down below for my website page. But also, I mean, feel free to message me and just ask questions, right? Just feel free to just, if you don't know if it's for you, or even if you're just struggling with something in your business, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about things. So I want you guys to feel comfortable. I know not everyone knows maybe what to say, but I want you to feel comfortable with me and just feel like you can kind of come to me with things. I do obviously have my boundaries, but I mean, I do still want to be able to have conversations with you guys and help you through these things as best as I can. So but yeah, that is today's episode. I will be back next week with another episode for you guys. So we're motoring on through here with our weekly episodes. Like I said, I've said this in the first one, since I've rebranded everything, that I will be kind of popping in little other episodes here and there. But those will kind of come and go, but consistently every week there should be one for sure. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. As always, greatly appreciated. And I will see you guys, or talk to you guys in the next episode. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you there.